Just imagine this for a second. Your child studies for 2 years, sleeps less, stops meeting friends, deletes Instagram, misses weddings, misses festivals, everything for one exam. And then someone quietly tells you there's a shortcut, not for rupees 1.5 crore, not for a private medical seat, just rupees 3 to 5 lakh. Now pause. If one path cost you rupees 1.5 crore and another cost you 5 lakhs, what do you think desperate people will choose? And that is the dangerous math nobody wants to talk about in the NEET controversy. Because this is no longer just about cheating, it's about pressure, fear, inequality, and a system where one exam decides the entire future of millions of students. Think about that. This year, nearly 22 lakh students appeared for NEET. 22 lakh. And that's larger than the population of many countries. And just days after the exam, chaos exploded. Reports started emerging from Rajasthan, especially from a town called Sikar. Police investigations claim that around 140 out of 180 questions allegedly matched a guest paper circulating before the exam, not after, before. And suddenly WhatsApp groups, leaked PDFs, money trails, coaching links, political names. Everything started surfacing together. And then something huge happened. The exam was cancelled. Now understand this carefully. Governments do not casually cancel a national exam involving millions of students. And that decision alone told people one thing. This was not a tiny leak. This was serious. And for lakhs of students who had already mentally collapsed after months of preparation, the nightmare restarted. Again, imagine being a student who finally thought, it's over, I can breathe now. And then suddenly hearing, prepare again. Emotionally, that hits differently. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people are discussing NEET like it's only a law and order issue. Paper leak, arrest, CBI inquiry, political blame game. But that's not the real story. The real story is the incentive. And the incentive is massive. Let's do the math. A government medical college seat may cost roughly rupees 5 lakhs for the full course. And a private medical college seat, it's around rupees 1.5 crore in many cases. And that gap changes everything. Because suddenly cheating is no longer seen by some people as immoral. It starts looking like a financial decision. A horrible one, but still a financial decision. And that's where the system becomes dangerous. Because whenever the reward becomes gigantic, someone will build a business around shortcuts. Always. Think about any high pressure system in the world where there is desperation, there is exploitation. And in India, becoming a doctor is not just a career. For many families, it's status, it's security, it's respect, a lifetime escape from financial struggle. So when only around 30 to 35,000 open category government seats exist and 22 lakh students are competing, the pressure becomes unbearable. And that ratio alone creates panic. And panic creates markets. Markets for coaching, markets for leaks, markets for manipulation. And this is why every year, despite tighter security, new scandals emerge. Because the demand never disappears. You know what's heartbreaking? The students who suffer the most are usually the honest one. The kid from a small town, the girl who studied under power cuts, the boy whose parents borrowed money for coaching, the student who genuinely believed if I work hard enough, merit will win. Now imagine what happens emotionally when that student hears. Some people may have bought the paper. It destroys trust, not just in the exam, in fairness itself. And honestly, that damage is deeper than marks. Because once young people stop believing honesty works, society changes in very dangerous ways. And the psychological toll is massive. Students cry, actually cry, not because the exam is difficult, but because their entire identity becomes tied to one result. For 2 years, their life becomes only this: neat, neat, and neat. No hobbies, no balance, no emotional safety net. And then suddenly, re exam, cancellation, uncertainty. Do we even realize what that does to an 18-year-old mind? We casually say things like this: stay positive. But positivity sounds hollow when someone feels their future is collapsing. Now let's talk about something many people quietly whisper about: Seeker, a town in Rajasthan that has become one of India's biggest coaching hubs. Its economy revolves around competitive exams. Its reputation depends on producing toppers. And year after year, questions keep emerging from there. Now, listen carefully. This does not mean every coaching institute or every student there is dishonest. Absolutely not. Lakhs of hardworking students study honestly. But when one ecosystem becomes excessively result driven, strange incentives happen. Because success becomes money, and money attracts system, some clean, some not so clean. And that's why people are asking uncomfortable questions. Are extraordinary results always coming only from extraordinary preparation? Or is there something else happening underneath? And honestly, that question deserves investigation. Not emotional reactions, not blind defense, not blind accusations, just truth. But here's the biggest issue of all: why does one 3-hour exam carry this much power in the first place? Think about it. 12 years of schooling reduced to one morning, one paper, one rank, one cutoff, one mistake, one panic attack, one bad day, and your future changes completely. Is that really the best system we could design? Because when a single exam becomes life or death, people stop behaving rationally. Families stop behaving rationally. That's the truth. And that's why some experts are saying the system itself creates the cheating economy, not just criminals, the structure. If school performance mattered meaningfully, if consistency over 2 years mattered, and if there were multiple evaluation layers, the pressure would spread out. And once pressure spreads, the incentive for organized cheating reduces. But right now, everything depends on one moment, which means the entire country's anxiety explodes into those 3 hours. And that is a real crisis. And now comes the harshest reality. For the ultra rich, NEET is often not the same battle. Because if someone can afford rupees 1.5 crore for a private college, they only need qualifying marks. Their path still exists. But for middle class and lower middle class families, a government seat is everything, everything. And that's why the competition becomes brutal. Because this is not just about ambition anymore, it's about survival, social mobility, family sacrifice. Parents spend savings, sell lands, take loans, move cities. And when desperation reaches that level, even decent people can begin considering terrible choices. And that's a tragedy. Not because they are evil, but because fear changes human behavior. Now, many people say simple solution: make NEET fully online. Sounds logical, right? But India is more complicated than Twitter debates because millions of students still come from villages and small towns where computer familiarity is limited. If tomorrow the exam becomes fully digital overnight, many students could be unfairly pushed out. So the transition has to be gradual, like JEE did over time. Otherwise, the solution itself creates a new inequality. And this is important to understand. Every education reform in India affects millions, which means even good ideas need careful execution. So, at the end of all this, who actually pays the price? Not the mafia, not the powerful, not the people who can buy alternatives. It's the honest student always. The student who studied sincerely, the student who trusted the system, the student who cannot afford backup options. That student pays the emotional cost of every leak, every cancellation, every delay. And maybe that's the saddest part of all. Because education was supposed to be the fairest ladder in society. But when a student starts believing the ladder itself is broken, something fundamental cracks inside a nation. Maybe the real issue is not just cheating. Maybe the real issue is this. We built a system so pressurized, so unequal, so financially extreme that honesty itself started feeling risky. And that should disturb all of us. Because a country is not shaped only by its toppers, it is shaped by what ordinary young people begin believing about fairness. If millions of students grow up thinking merit alone is not enough, then the damage goes far beyond one exam, far beyond NEET. It becomes a trust crisis. And trust, once broken, is very hard to rebuild. So maybe tonight, before arguing online, we should ask a deeper question. What kind of education system we have created where children are terrified, parents are desperate, and mafias become powerful? Because until we answer that honestly, the story will repeat again and again and again. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this story valuable and meaningful, please like, share and subscribe to the channel for more powerful and insightful stories that connect with the real experience of all of us. Thank you so much.